Welcome to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 149, otherwise known as Season 8, Episode 9. It's been a while. I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davidson. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing good. Had a very full and rewarding summer, and it may be September, but I really wish that it would cool down.
Oh, I know. It's so super hot. Did you see the Gloucester Sea Serpent while you were back home?
I wish.
Also with us, as always, is your other host, John Correia. How you doing, Correia?
Oh, I'm just like a baked bean in the sun, just getting cooked by it's September. This is the hottest time of the year in the valley, so just getting cooked.
Yeah, it's a warm one. We have not talked in a really long time, so we need to jump right into it and talk about some cool shit. And I think that there is something cool that all of us have seen but anyway, let's talk about Weapons.
Yeah.
Yes. Weapons was amazing. I loved this movie. It was so it's weird because it had almost like a Sinister or a Longlegs vibe. It's a very cold and dreadful movie. But then it had these little snippets of comedy. And I have heard a lot of people saying that they have a problem with the third act and how it goes off the rails. I think it went off the rails in the best way possible. I absolutely loved the ending to this movie.
But the assault rifle alarm clock, that wasn't third act.
No, that was weird. But that was also a dream. That was John. If you haven't seen Weapons, which by now you probably all have, it's basically about this third grade, this class of kids. One night they all get up at 2:17 and walk out of their house,
Naruto style.
Yeah, and they disappear. And they run off into the night in Naruto style, except for one of them, and he is the only one left in his class. So of course they're blaming the teacher. They're blaming, the story is told from the point of view of all the different townspeople. It'll say, that go from the teacher, one of the parents, everybody to this one freaking homeless druggie who is awesome. James
is directly inspired by Magnolia.
Yeah. Yes. It's that kind of a thing, but it is, this movie rules. This movie is so freaking cool.
Yeah, I was so excited to see Weapons that I actually saw it opening day while I was on the East Coast in Boston and saw it at the IMAX theater at the Commons, and it was such a fun time. It was a full house, and during that third act scene, somebody actually yelled in the back of the audience, "Holy fucking shit!"
There was a few moments of our screening where people had that type of reaction. It was great. And we had an amazing crowd.
It's a holy fucking shit movie. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, they didn't screen it for press down here, which turned out to be a good thing because I got the Warner rep to give me a Fandango code so I could go see it with an audience. Mm. And that was a good way to see it. I was glad to get to see it with an actual audience because it's an audience movie.
Our audience had visceral reactions to some of the food bits in the movie. So the 7 hot dogs, someone shouted what? With the 7 hot dogs bit, which was a beautiful homage to Trevor Moore and Whitest Kids,
Yeah.
But for me, it was because I'm going to talk about the food in the movie. It was the whole Campbell soup thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Gross.
That was great storytelling of just what the kid was going through, of showing the sequence of him struggling to get the cans open, dropping them, and then going to the store and buying ones with the easy open. The amount of character development and just storytelling of just this kid in the soup was just phenomenal.
And the way that they unfold this is Zach Kreger, in case you haven't known, the guy who made Barbarian. And the way that it unfolds with the different, telling it from different points of view, it's almost like a Pulp Fiction or a Strange Darling kind of thing, where it's it's better to not know some of the things he tells you that happened earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the craziest thing about it is, and one of my critic colleagues had said, he's all, where'd they find the actress to play Gladys? Gladys is
Amy Madigan?
Madigan.
Come on. McCoy from Streets of Fire.
I saw her name in the credits and I'm all, who is Amy Madigan? And when I looked it up, she is a chameleon in this movie. And by now, even if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably seen pictures of Gladys because it's kind of a meme now. She's like dyed red hair, this crazy looking lady. It's freaking Amy Madigan.
Or if you have my algorithm, you've seen at least 5 or 6 drag queens pull off that look recently.
It's a good drag queen look.
it's the new Mia Goth, and it's the new Maxine or Pearl. She's iconic, but Amy Madigan deserves Oscar nominations for this. She's phenomenal.
But because it's a horror movie, they'll probably snub her. But you're right. She was amazing.
She was unrecognizable.
Yes, totally.
There was one point in her performance where Lindsay and I both looked at each other and just went, McCoy? Streets of Fire? Because we're obsessed with that movie. And it took a while for us to recognize her.
I didn't even recognize her. And I saw the name in the credits and I was all, who is Amy Madigan in this? And then it was only when me and my friend Josh were discussing it, about who was Gladys. And I looked it up and I'm going, holy crap, that's who she was. Oh my God. So amazing. Anyway, everybody go see Weapons. Yeah. Another thing I saw that's brand new, it comes out next week. I don't know if either of you guys have gotten a chance. I know they've been doing preview screenings. Have you seen The Long Walk?
No, I'm hoping to go to a preview screening at the Arrow next week, but yeah, no, it's still got some time. Although I really wanted to do that preview screen where you had to watch it on a treadmill at 3 miles per hour, and if you couldn't walk anymore, you would have to leave the movie and you wouldn't be able to finish.
Yeah, that's the crux of the movie. It is it's sort of like a Hunger Games kind of thing where America, they take one kid from each state, one boy, they're all males from each state, and they have to walk until they all are dead. And if you fall below 3 miles an hour, you get up to 3 warnings and then they shoot you. And so these guys all have to walk, and 3 miles an hour is, I mean, it's not super fast, but it's a pretty good clip. It's not lollygagging.
Yeah.
And so this movie, it's directed by the guy who did all the Hunger Games movies except for the first one. And it is written by J.T. Molnar, who did Strange Darling. And this guy has a way with dialogue. I mean, you could tell in Strange Darling he had a way with dialogue, but this movie is, I think it sticks pretty close to the Stephen King. It kind of simplifies things, and it also kind of combines some characters and leaves out some. So I mean, I haven't read the Stephen King one in decades, but it kind of combines some characters and leaves out some little things. But a lot of this movie is conversations, like the boys walking and talking about things, and the conversations, the dialogue is really well written. And then these conversations will be split up by just extreme violence in the middle of this movie. But that's so well done. It's such it's not as intense as I thought it would be, but it's definitely unflinching. Like the violence in this, especially the very first kid who fails, the first one who dies. Like once it happens, you're kind of just left there going, wait, they showed that? I mean, it's like, it's pretty insane. But yeah, it is. I was lucky enough to see, it was an early screening because they had this discussion afterwards of the themes of the movie. But next week they start the actual press and promo screening. So if either of you guys get a chance, and it opens on the 12th, which when this posts, it'll be this Friday. So go see The Long Walk.
Yeah, can't wait.
I'll have to watch it at the Cinemark in my hotel.
Yeah. But on a treadmill, though.
We'll see.
Set for 3 miles an hour.
And in terms of other new releases, I assume you guys saw Together.
I have not seen Together, and I'm super bummed.
Yeah, let's unpack that one.
Oh boy. Yeah. No, Together was pretty interesting. Like it did kind of feel like kind of conceptual horror thing because it's about toxic relationship. Like you got Allison Brie and Dave Franco moving in together, this kind of rural town, and they've got some relationship issues. and then they fall into a cave and they drink the weird cave water, and now they start getting really together and connected, leading to all the body horror stuff.
Yeah, it's. I was really excited for it together because it looked like there was a lot of like, body horror stuff. And it's definitely more on the Brian Usna side of body horror than it is Cronenberg, to put it in those type of perspectives. But my two biggest issues with it is when it does the body horror stuff, it's really good. The body horror stuff is great, but it didn't feel like there was an escalation with it. It almost felt like random ideas of how them kind of coming together happens until the finale. They were cool, but like it felt a little disjointed with that. But my biggest issue is I didn't feel the chemistry between the two in love. It felt like they hated each other throughout most of the movie, and I wish that they spent more time on the relationship between the two of them rather than the kind of really ridiculous reason why it was happening, which it goes, I won't spoil a whole lot, but it goes into like a really almost kind of overly explained cult thing. And
yeah, like it leans heavy into the folk horror.
And I mentioned the cult aspect of it because it's not in the trailers, but this is how much it kind of bothered me. You guys know me. You know I love pretty much anything about cults. I'm very fascinated with the subject. I have multiple books, so like that sounds like something I would be excited about. But it kind of felt like it derailed the thing because again, I wanted to know more like, well, were these people ever in love? Because they seem like they hate each other right now. It didn't really feel like if you're making commentary about codependency and getting in a rut, it didn't feel that. But other than that, I mean, it was still pretty good. There's a few moments where it was like, it was really intense and gross and stuff. And I dug it, but also that final shot bit. I've been making fun of it with Lindsay ever since. It was a bit silly. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'd recommend it if it comes to streaming or something, but
I have a love-hate relationship with Neon because I love their movies. I absolutely love their movies. And I love the package they send me at the end of the year that has their movies in it, but they don't screen anything for press in our market. I mean, the last thing they screened for press was Longlegs. So I get so frustrated. And Together is a Neon movie, so I have not seen it. And Neon has a couple good things coming out, Selby Oaks and also Keeper. And I know that I'm hoping that my package comes and those are in it so that I actually get to see them sooner than later. But yeah, I have not seen Together yet, but it'll be in my Neon package. Did either of you guys see I Know What You Did Last Summer?
No, I didn't get to that.
The new one. Did you get to it, Correia?
No, I wasn't really a fan of the franchise, so I didn't feel the urge to go. Sorry.
Here's the deal. No. You don't. It's not that great. It's essentially a remake of the first one, which we've already gotten that with part 3. Although part 3, it was a copycat and it was more supernatural. But this one, in fact, it could be a remake, except the fact that the first murders actually exist in this universe, and there are like Julie and Ray are in it, Freddie Prinze and Jennifer Love Hewitt, and minor spoiler, Sarah Michelle Gellar is in it too. It's like a dream sequence.
And is it Brandy in the post credits?
It's like a mid-credits scene. Yeah, she pops up, which kind of leaves it open for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
It's like the only motivation for me to see it is more Brandy because she rules.
When it's being a slasher, it's actually kind of cool. I mean, it has the typical, creative kills and stuff, but there's so much stuff in between that. And I don't know if it's the dialogue or the acting, but it's pretty corny in between the kills. So yeah, it's nothing that you really need to rush out to see. It's one of those things that if you're bored for 90 minutes and it comes on HBO, it's not a waste of time, but there's definitely better things to seek out if you're going to.
Yeah, fair.
So what else is new? There been a couple superhero movies? Have you guys seen Superman or Fantastic Four: First Steps?
Yeah, love them both.
Yeah, I saw both.
What you guys fans?
Yes.
Yeah, I like them both.
Here's the question: which did you like more?
Superman.
Yeah, I like Superman more.
Really, I like Fantastic Four more. I think. And here's my issue with Superman: Crypto was CG. You guys know
Well,
I'm a fan of animals in movies. I think there should be an Oscar for best animal performance. And Crypto was probably 95% CG. And granted, you can't have a flying dog but they could have used a real dog for it. But anyway, I mean, I didn't mind Superman. I did enjoy it. I had fun with it, but I think I like Fantastic Four more.
yeah, I mean, they were both good in their own ways and kind of evoking the kind of more out there Silver Age-ish superhero stylings. But yeah, they both were great and they both had their positives.
Yeah, I mean, Fantastic Four, I dug, especially since there were it did invoke some of the Lovecraftian cosmic horror of Galactus a bit, because that's one of the main reasons why I love Galactus is that he is this very cosmic horror character, and I dug a lot of it. The problem is I just saw Superman the night prior to it, and
Okay.
I really love Superman, and especially after surviving the Snyder version of Superman, which did not understand that character at all. So to see Superman's heart and humanity on full display for the entirety of the movie is great. Not to mention like just the fact that it handled such heavy themes of like, all right, if Superman did exist now and did step into, wars and countries and things of that nature, what would that kind of fallout be? Was just so well done. I mean, come on. Hawk Girl killed a world leader.
Hawk Girl was easily
A
my
dictator.
favorite. She was easily
Yeah.
my favorite part
Oh
of
yeah,
the movie.
no, she was great.
I Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern bugged the crap out of me.
But that's the point of Guy Gardner,
Yeah,
though.
he's a-
He is
he's a
annoying.
dick.
Mr. Terrific.
Love him.
Oh, yeah,
so
no, he was
good.
great.
I loved everything except his name, Mr. Terrific. Come
Well,
on, but yeah,
that's
he was.
that's his name in the comics.
Yeah,
I
that's
know,
him.
I know. You can't change that, but
Mr. Terrific's so cool because he's just so stoic and like, and he's everything about him is so logic, but he has such style and flair, and he doesn't lose that like Mr. Spock logic at all. But even like that whole sequence with the orbs and he's taking them all out, just style and flair, and he's terrific.
yeah, but Hawk Girl just flying around. I mean, she was amazing. She was awesome.
People were complaining about that. It's like that's how she is in the comics.
Yeah,
though.
no, she was awesome. Hawk
That
Girl
actress rules. She was great in Last of Us as well.
Yeah, and I got to say, David Cornswet, he's an amazing Superman. Like he felt very genuine.
He's the best Superman I think since Christopher Reeve. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is including all of the freaking TV ones, but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he was great.
Yeah, he gave an emotional performance while also doing a lot of great superhero fights.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it helps that like the script was really good as well because Henry Cavill was a good Superman and Clark, but I just think that the direction of the scripts and where it was going with it didn't. Again, it was trying too hard to make Superman cool and edgy, and that's the whole point of Superman is that he's not. He's got a genuinely good heart and stuff, and like it's that's the thing that you almost feel like you got to protect him, even though he's our protector. It's great.
Yeah,
But all the people who were like, "Oh, Superman went woke." It's like, did you just wake up yourself? Superman has always been freaking woke. He, people.
The bad reads on this and others has been insane to watch.
Well, speaking of woke, have either of you guys seen Eddington?
Oh yeah, I saw Eddington. It might be my second favorite Ari Aster movie now.
Well, there's only been four. What's your favorite? Hereditary?
Hereditary, yeah.
Hereditary, yeah. I think I like Midsommar and Hereditary more than this, but this is definitely better than Beau is Afraid. But I'm an Ari Aster fanboy, so I like them all. This one is what's so funny about Eddington is at first when it was starting up, I'm like, oh, here it goes. We're looking, we're going full MAGA here. But then he's kind of making fun of both sides. Like he has BLM protesters in it who are kind of looking like fools. And then of course Joaquin Phoenix sheriff, who is, anti-vax, anti-mask. He's looking like a fool. He's almost making fun of everybody. I saw the perfect poster for Eddington. It was a tinfoil cowboy hat.
Well, I wouldn't say he's even really doing kind of a both sides thing as much as he's showing that a lot of people are using politics to kind of cover up for their own personal neuroses and failings, like the whole thing with Joaquin Phoenix's character is just like a lot of his politics is just stemming from his own insecurities, like the whole thing with his wife and like masculinity issues and just a lot of different kind of personal failings leading them to really bad politics. But I think probably my favorite part was the No Country for Old Men-esque like ridiculous shootout in the town at night. Like Joaquin Phoenix is just like tumbling and falling through a thing, and he pulls out like a chain gun from the gun store, and he's being chased by this dude. And it just does have a lot of funny moments, like with like the triumphant music when he makes his campaign card. He's got all those stupid slogans, a lot of them misspelled on the card, like you're being lied to, YOUR.
Yeah, A24 put out a post that had that "you're being lied to" with like something about Eddington on there, and people were totally correcting him. It's like, oh, dude, tell me you haven't seen the movie without telling me you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
Did they also have a data center that was named after like that meme?
Yeah, it was Shining Golden Magikarp.
There we go. Yeah,
from Pokemon.
I saw that, and that made me go, maybe I do need to see this. My issue is lockdown sucked that era, and I'm not the most motivated to go to a movie theater and re-experience a lot of that. So that's why I didn't see it in theaters yet.
Yeah, parts of it are gonna infuriate you just because it's gonna to use a freaking right-wing buzzword, it'll trigger you. But there are other parts of it that you're gonna actually relate to. And it's Ari Aster, it does go off the rails in the perfect Ari Aster way at the end, like what Jacob was alluding to. It is it goes crazy in the best way. I mean, I think it was awesome.
Nice. Well, I haven't been seeing a lot of movies because I've been absolutely killing it on my summer reading challenge.
Nice.
So hope you guys are ready for Correia's book Nook. I spent most of the summer finishing up a lot of series that I started and never finished. So I read all of Invincible, Preacher, and The Walking Dead, which I nice. Stopped at Walking Dead at the wrong point, because shortly after where I stopped, it started making a case for post-scarcity society. And y'all know me as a Star Trek fan. I'm all about that. So highly recommend those. But ones I want to highlight, there's one book called All Nighter. It was a cosmology exclusive, but they have a few trades out now. And it's about these vampires, and they get kind of bored. They run an all-night diner. And so two of them go out and pretend to be superheroes. And it's a really interesting story because how they explain why vampires exist is because there's a fantasy element. And I only read the first trade. I just got volume 2 and 3 in. So, but they're hinting that there's like something to do with like fantasy magic stuff going. But it's a really interesting story. It got recommended to me by the same person who said, hey, do you like Sinners? Read these comics. This was on that list along with, so it's BIPOC focused, BIPOC written, but All Nighter is pretty fun. But from that list was also Bitterroot. And if you've been talking to me at all this year, I probably shouted at you about Bitterroot, which is absolutely phenomenal. That's it's Lovecraft Country meets Ghostbusters, set in the Harlem Heights era. And that one's phenomenal. And they just came out with the sequel series, Bitterroot: The Next Movement, which just finished its run, which takes place in the 60s and has that like 60s retro futuristic look like Fantastic Four First Steps, but continues the story of like how hatred and racism turns people into these beings called like Jinyus. But Next Movement takes it a step further and goes even more Lovecraftian. It's such a great read, and they always include amazing essays at the end of each comic. Another one that I would highly recommend is the Amusement Park. So Sandy King, John Carpenter's comic book company, with Sandy, put out a comic book adaptation of George A. Romero's The Amusement Park, the film that was unearthed a few years ago. If you like the movie, I highly recommend the comic. The artwork is incredible. They expand on a lot of the themes that are in the movie, because of course there's some limitations, as George A. Romero made this as like a PSA and it was funded by a church and whatnot. So it was cool seeing them like expand out on some of those themes of like taking care of the elderly and what it's like going through all that. And the last of my comics that I'll recommend is Exorcism at 1600 Penn. I just started reading the trade for that. I'm like an issue in, and I'm already recommending it to everybody. It's phenomenal. If you're a fan of Exorcist the series, yeah, I'm being that fucking specific right now. The series, Exorcist the series, and how they with the show they did a really good job of showing the seduction or like what led to the possession beforehand. Exorcism at 1600 Penn. It's like Exorcist the series meets Chucky season 3, I'd want to say. Wow. Well, because crazy horror stuff in the White House. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really cool seeing like the demon in the background and all that. It's a really fun read, and I've read all these on Hoopla. So if you have a library and they have Hoopla, I highly recommend it. It's a great resource to be reading comics on the cheap and testing them out. Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of comics, while I was on the East Coast, I actually picked up a couple of Dark Horse started doing a bunch of EC Comics archives releases on paperback, so they're pretty cheap. Like they got whole volumes that are a couple hundred pages and a few issues for only like $20 each. So I got like an old Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. And it is so funny reading the original comics after being such a big fan of the Tales from the Crypt TV show for so long, because drew on all that, the Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear, and they are very well written and very funny and ghoulish. And I got some of the issues that had been adapted, like I forget the name, but the one with Joe Pesci and the twins, that was one of the issues I got. But also there's some really crazy stories that never got adapted, but I think would have been fun. Like this one where it's like a game show and you think the contestant's a vampire, but it turns out the people running the game show are vampires and they eat the guy. Yeah. So there's a lot of funny stuff to it.
I've been collecting those too. I have all of the trades for Tales, Haunt of, and Vault, and they just started putting out, because EC was revived recently, and they just started putting out the trades for those. So if you like that, I recommend Epitaphs of Evil, I believe it's called.
Something like that.
It's a lot of fun and really good. It's in that style, but with like modern, Epitaphs from the Abyss. My apologies.
Yes.
It's a fun read.
And they've got a sci-fi one too, like Weird Tales. I think it was like Abyss of Horror or something like that.
Yeah.
It's cool that EC's back and with new artists and writers and stories. But it is funny to revisit the originals. And if there hadn't been such a crackdown on horror comics back in the day, it does make you wonder how the art form could have evolved.
Have you guys seen this movie? I think it's on Hulu, called Borderline.
Yes, I actually saw it theatrically. It had a limited run at Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah, this is it's Samara Weaving, and she plays a kind of like a Madonna.
A pop star.
Yeah. Although Madonna exists in her universe, so she's not Madonna, but she's kind of like this pop star who kind of burns through romantic partners. But there's also this fan who's just obsessed with her, who basically wants to marry her, has set up a wedding for them. So it's kind of like a crazy stalker story.
But then it turns into Alone in the Dark because then he busts out of an asylum with two other patients to do a home invasion and hold her hostage.
Yep. So it's another Samara Weaving covered in blood movie that, we love so much. It's its own subgenre.
Love Samara Weaving.
Yeah, no, she was great. And also Ray Nicholson, son of Jack Nicholson, plays the stalker guy, Paul. And he does, he looks so much like his dad so that when he does kind of go crazy, he does kind of evoke Jack in The Shining. Although I also have to say I was a big fan of Alba Baptista, who played the French asylum patient who escapes with Ray Nicholson, because she's like just as crazy and she's giddy and she's got this whole French theme to her. So she was very quirky.
Ray Nicholson, whose face was all over the promotional materials for Smile 2, and he was in the movie. Yeah. He was in the movie for about 20 seconds.
Yeah, and he was the bad guy in Novocaine.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, speaking of Novocaine, although not really speaking of Novocaine, but similar style. Did you guys see Nobody 2?
I did. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I loved it. I thought it was totally. Did you see it, Correia?
Let me tell you, there's 16 volumes of The Walking Dead, which is comprised of 2 trades. When I tell you I spent my summer reading, I genuinely spent my summer reading.
All right. Well, Nobody 2 basically is Bob Odenkirk's character from Nobody, and he's on vacation. And of course, he goes to a place on vacation that is ripe with criminals and corruption. And he basically gets into trouble the same way he did in Nobody. But yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of, ass kicking, and
it's National Lampoon's Vacation turning into John Wick.
Yeah, it pretty much is. But yeah,
and it's directed by Timo. Timo Gianto?
Yeah, I don't know how to say the name, but he did the one of everybody's favorite VHS segments.
Yeah.
Timo Tahanto. He did VHS 2 and VHS 94, and he also did some really great action movies on Netflix, like The Night Comes for Us, The Shadow Strays, The Big Four. So, this is a guy who knows how to do his action with ample gore. So you got people getting blown up and impaled in like traps. And I do love that Bob Odenkirk gets to use an old-fashioned Tommy gun per scene. And also Sharon Stone is the main villain, and she just goes full ham. Like, she is crazy.
I didn't realize it was Sharon Stone. It was another Amy Madigan moment, because I saw it all Sharon Stone. I'm like, oh, was she the main? Because you're right. She's having so much fun with this role. And she's not really not as unrecognizable as Amy Madigan, but it was kind of a surprise to see that it was Sharon Stone.
Yeah. And does she get to do some action bits? Because she can do action.
Oh yeah.
She stabs people's in the face.
Yeah.
Making me want to watch The Quick and the Dead again. But the director of Nobody 2 is doing Beekeeper 2 as well.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yes, they're making a Beekeeper 2 because The Working Man was not the Beekeeper 2 that I wanted.
It didn't work.
Have either of you guys seen Dangerous Animals?
Yes, I did see that. I was actually at the big screening they did at the Egyptian Theater on my birthday.
I finally caught up to that because IFC sent out their FYC screeners for the year. Dangerous Animals is a crazy movie. It's basically this serial killer, which is Jai Courtney, and his way of killing people is using sharks. He takes them out on his boat and he dangles them above the water while he chums the water for sharks. And it's pretty crazy. And it goes places like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it goes to some Moby Dick places that are pretty awesome.
Yeah. Also, this might be one of my favorite Jai Courtney performances because he gets to be very hammy and Australian.
Yeah.
Like he's not hiding the accent.
Is he Australian? Like in real
He
life? Is
is.
he? Okay, cool.
He is genuinely Australian.
He's one of those like Charlie Hunnam. I got so used to seeing him in Sons of Anarchy that when I see him like in interviews and he's British, I'm like, what the hell is Jax Teller doing speaking with that accent?
See, I'm the opposite with him. I'm like, why is the British exchange student from Undeclared speaking with an American accent watching Sons?
And did any of you guys see the new Toxic Avenger?
No.
Listen, there's a lot of issues of Invincible, and I had a lot of reading to do.
With me, it was my social anxiety because the press screenings were during Comic-Con and they were at theaters next to Comic-Con. And I was like, no,
yeah.
no, I'm not going down there. So yeah, I missed it.
That was me with Highest to Lowest. Like I'm glad Lemley was showing it because I was like, I'm not going to downtown. I'm sorry. Like,
well, yeah, no, the new Toxic Avenger movie by Macon Blair is finally out. And it's so funny because like I saw it almost 2 years ago at Beyond Fest, and it was, just such a big event. Like they decked out the Aero Theater. Our water was green for a while because they dyed it.
For a while after the screening, like for like weeks after.
Yeah, no, there was green slime everywhere. Nah, I'm kidding. But no, what I'm trying to say is that, they just made such a big event of the Toxic Avenger Festival screenings. It sucked that, they shelved it for a couple of years because, like, I had such a blast and it was such a fun time. But thankfully, Cineverse and, the team behind it put it out. And they didn't really change it that much from the version I saw at Beyond Fest, except I think they extended the credits tag sequence. So if you want to learn how to make an authentic Toxic Avenger grilled cheese sandwich, I recommend staying for after the credits. But no, it's such a fun movie. I mean, I really love Peter Dinklage, and this gave him the chance to do something very different from what people are used to seeing him do. Plus, you got Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood as bad guys, and very weird and kind of campy bad guys like Elijah Wood's a hunchback who's managing a monster core band, and Kevin Bacon is a dickhead CEO obsessed with health who's like injecting gorilla blood into himself. And yeah, no, there's ample gore. It really is evocative of kind of the style of Trauma and the original Toxic Avenger movie, but also strangely timely because much like Trauma, which despite its usual absurd and line crossing gore and weirdness, there is some emotional core to it and socio-political messaging because like Peter Dinklage is a single dad trying to take care of his son and yeah, I mean it has all the kind of anti corporate messaging because like it's Kevin Bacon's evil company that's polluting the environment and make everybody sick. And the funniest part to me was that there was a sequence where these Proud Boy type guys, the Nasty Lads, took over a fast food restaurant, which was called Mr. Meat, but was changed to Miss Meat because they were so mad about the name. And I just couldn't stop thinking about like the whole Cracker Barrel controversy that made all these right-wing dudes so pissed off. So Toxic Avenger really is a topical movie and a hero for our time. And one of the best promotional things they did was that they bought and took care of over $5 million of medical debt, and with their increasing box office, they're helping to eliminate more medical debt.
Correia kind of alluded to it, but let's talk about a couple of not really horror movies, but crime movies from auteurs. Let's go to Highest to Lowest first, the new Spike Lee joint.
Don't even get me started.
This movie, it's almost like two movies, and honestly, there's basically Denzel Washington dealing with being this not really washed up, but this struggling music mogul. And then there's this kidnapping side of it. And honestly, the Denzel Washington music logo part was more interesting than the kidnapping part. I was a little disappointed in the crime aspect. And then the movie itself becomes a freaking music video towards the end. And you're like, oh,
Oh wow.
come on. Yeah, because, oh, yeah, because Aesop Rocky is in it. And you're like,
I loved it.
the thing about the kidnapping one is it's all so far fetched. And you're like, yeah, I don't know, but the Denzel Washington here's the thing: Jeffrey Wright is in it. He kind of plays this ex-con who's Denzel Washington's right hand man, and for someone to be able to outact Denzel Washington, that takes some talent. But Jeffrey Wright did it. He is incredible in this. So that yeah,
Both of them. Yeah. I gotta say something about Highest to Lowest because I absolutely fucking loved it. I fought to find a screening, which was insane because I live in Los Angeles. You think that they would have more than 4 fucking theaters showing it, one of which was only doing 10 p.m. showings, and the other 2 were downtown. But I'm so glad I sought it out because the crowd's energy was incredible with it. All the jokes landed. And I loved it because the setup is a kidnapping movie, but it's not about the kidnapping. And so I can understand why there's a bit of a disconnect. But Spike really took the opportunity to really talk about like where art and entertainment is right now.
I thought you were going to say he took the opportunity to bash Boston.
Oh, did he ever? Like,
oh,
if you walk out of Highest and Lowest, you know exactly where Spike stands on AI and Boston sports. And the truth is he fucking hates both of them. There's an entire sequence where they during the chase where they enter in a train full of New York fans and they're just chanting fuck Boston, fuck Boston, fuck to the point where the actor gets like into a face close up and is staring down the barrel of the lens screaming fuck Boston. It's great.
Wow. I did see the movie, but there was an interview that Spike Lee did in Central Park and he saw a guy wearing a Red Sox hat go by and he's like, hey, fuck the Sox. Like he just stopped the interview for a second to just tell that guy he hates the Red Sox.
Yeah, he's a huge Knicks fan. But it's really masterful in its critique and dwellings on where entertainment is right now, especially as a business, as an industry. And nothing encapsulates that more than the end credits song is samples and uses this 1970s Italian song where the guy wrote basically in Italy, Italian artists were struggling to get on the charts because English songs were much more popular or American songs. So he wrote a song that was complete gibberish, but sounded like he was speaking English. And I think them using that and putting it was the singer that's also featured at the end of the movie. She's singing over it. Just that overlay I thought was a perfect like encapsulation of the themes of the film. And so, yes, if you're looking for like another crime thriller, this isn't that. No. It uses a lot of that to tell its story, but I think it's masterful. Even the chase sequence there's a lot of choices where it's like anyone else would have done this in a very stereotypical, like high energy way. And Spike was much more, did it in a very different manner. I don't want to say it was slow or anything like that. It just wasn't like high energy in that sense. And it kind of made me even more nervous because of that. Cause it's like, why isn't this moving along like it would? There was a lot of very interesting takes, and the distribution of it, I think, has been trash because they're barely putting it in theaters, barely pushing it. And it is going to Apple TV Plus tomorrow. But I mean, come on.
I was going to say, this is one of those A24 straight to Apple. So, which actually, now that I think about it, the tragedy of Macbeth also with Denzel. But the tragedy of Macbeth is starting to hit other platforms. So I don't know if it was a limited Apple contract or whatever. But also, these cinematic auteur movies, Darren Aronofsky's Caught Stealing. Have either of you guys seen this?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Nope. But I saw the red carpet footage of the cat showing up.
Cat. Okay, the cat is okay. Here's the deal with Caught Stealing. It's your typical crime drama. It's nothing special. On the Aronofsky scale, it's actually kind of mid to low. It's better than Noah, but it's not The Wrestler. But that cat is amazing. It's the same cat. His name is Tonic. It's the same cat from the Pet Sematary remake.
Best part of that movie too.
Yeah, he was. But it's funny because like you said, Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz is amazing. in this movie. Austin Butler's okay, but I don't think they gave him a whole lot to work with. Zoe Kravitz is easily the emotional core of the movie, but they'll be doing their red carpet interviews and stuff, and they'll put this cat in this car, and someone is controlling the car, obviously, but the cat will drive up into the middle of this interview in this car. But yeah, that cat rules.
Wow.
But caught stealing, it's your pretty typical, this guy's, he's speaking. We were talking about Amy Madigan, unrecognizable. Austin Butler gets caught between the Russian mob and these Hasidic criminals is just kind of what it is. They're in the guy's phone as the Hebrews, and it's Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio, and they both have these huge beards. They're just chameleonic. And it's kind of hilarious because these guys, they'll like go home to their bubby and they'll talk and stuff, and then they'll go out and they'll rip people's eyes out with a spoon. It's pretty crazy. What he gets in between, and his Matt Smith plays his punk neighbor, who's the owner of the cat, but he ends up. That's the whole thing. Is like his neighbor's like, take care of my cat while I'm in England, and of course, there's more than just the cat that he has to take care of because all this other shit happens. But it is on the Aronofsky scale. I think it says more about Aronofsky's movies than it does this movie, because this is not a bad movie, but it's not one of Aronofsky's best. It's a little too typical for Aronofsky, I think, is the issue. But
yeah, it seemed like he was doing kind of a crime caper type of movie.
He very much, and he didn't write it. It's based on a novel, and the novelist adapted his own screenplay, so that might have had something to do with why it's a little too typical, because Aronofsky didn't, he didn't have complete. He's taken someone else's script. But let's wrap things up here. But I think let's wrap things up here, Correia, with Unknown Caller.
No, I shouldn't have told you I watched a Netflix true crime thing, because I knew you were going to want to talk about it. Well, at least we're not talking about Trainwreck.
Hey, yeah, I avoided all the Trainwreck that I've watched, because they're putting out one of those every week, it seems. But the Balloon Boy one is cool though, but the rest of them are But no, Unknown Caller. It's a convoluted story, but basically this girl started getting texts from an unknown caller that was like, and not really threatening, but like talking crap about her boyfriend, saying things like, you're so ugly, your boyfriend's going to leave you for me, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they're trying to find out who is sending her these messages. And it goes to some really weird places. And it kind of reveals who's sending these messages kind of early for me. In fact, so early that I actually thought, this can't be the end of this, but it was.
Well, it's weird because like it's this teenage girl, and it happened in like 2020, so it was like a recent thing. But it was this like 13-year-old girl and her boyfriend, and it was always in group chats between the two of them, and it was all this shit talking of like, your boyfriend's gonna leave me because I put out, much more explicit than that. But like it starts off as like this, like it seems like they're trying to break them up, but then it stops for like 6 or 8 months and then comes back, and for like a year and a half, it's like 40 or 50 texts a day at some points, and it escalates. At one point they did break up, and he starts seeing another girl, and that girl's mom starts getting texts. Yeah.
So I mean, it goes way further than just this group chat. Like, it almost seems like it's clearly someone in their inner circle that's doing this, who has knowledge of where these two kids are and where they go.
And they do reveal who it is decently early, and it's because there's a lot to unpack with who it turns out to be. We're trying not to spoil it right now, but there's a lot to unpack. And I think it was something I watched while doing other stuff, but like my biggest disappointment with it was just the fact that, like, I don't know, there was so much to unpack with it, and it felt like there's no real catharsis on like why they did it. There's no I wish more time had lapsed so that we could see like more of the ongoing effects. I do really like, because there's points where with the texting where they implicate other students And so it's not just these two kids who are being massively traumatized by this, because again, when you're getting 40 to 50 texts a day and they're saying you're an anorexic bitch and you should kill yourself, like that's going to take a toll on you. But like, it also shows that like with the implication that it might have been this other person in the class, like that person's life was affected, these families' lives were affected. So I'm glad that they did interview all these people and showed that it was more than just two. But I don't know. I wish we were a few more years out, because then you could see the longer effect of it. Maybe if they do a revisit in like a few years, I'll probably watch it. But like, it's pretty insane, because you think like cyberbullying, cyber stalking, things of that nature, it's still relatively new, but also not in our society. And I do respect the fact that they go into how this has real ramifications in the real world on people,
and not just for the people who are getting the like you said, the person doing it pointed the finger at other people and planted clues to make it look like these other people are doing it to throw the trail off themselves. So, there are people going around this school saying, "Oh, this girl totally is doing all this," and it ruined her life too.
Yeah,
and and by the end, everybody knows this girl didn't do it, but so what? She's already branded, it. Yeah. It's,
and of course, the cops didn't do
the cops
due diligence.
Yeah.
I loved when the parents of like one of the kids that was blamed, they were like, "Yeah, we told them to investigate that person, but they didn't." It took like the FBI having to get search warrants from these third party apps and stuff to go, and it's like, y'all couldn't have done that from the fucking beginning. You couldn't have asked those people for their fucking phones from the beginning.
They're like, you could have solved this 2 years ago, right?
But it's also pretty insane, because they have the camera footage from the body cams of the cops when they go to confront the person, and that scene goes on for a long time,
and it's very uncomfortable.
There's a lot of revelations and realizations happening in real time, and it is rough. It's
uncomfortable
scene.
It is. It is. That one's tough.
So it's your typical Netflix true crime doc. But it's interesting. I was interested in it because most of the time when people are like, "You should watch this true crime doc," it's like, "Oh, great, let's watch another serial killer thing. Let's watch another murder thing." So I was interested in the cyberbullying, cyber stalking aspect of it. So,
all right, cool. Well, sorry we missed like 2 months. I won't even say we missed a couple episodes. We missed a couple months, but you guys were treated to our end of summer catch up here, and supposedly, I'm not going to make any promises, but we have some interviews coming up, right, Correia?
Yeah, we have some cool stuff. Sorry for getting way too into my summer reading challenge, but just know that I dominated that shit. I put all those kids to shame with the amount of pages I read. Let me tell you.
I was too busy going coast to coast.
And I was too busy watching Trainwreck about, the American Apparel cult and the PI moms and whatever. But hopefully I won't even promise it will be more regular, but we're going to try. But if you like the sound of our voices, you were cool here. So let's get out of here. Our theme song is by Restless Spirit. They just got back from a tour, but they're going to start working on their 4th record, and then they'll be on tour soon. So go check out Restless Spirit. Our artwork is by Chris Fisher, and he's always doing artwork and movies and stuff. So check him out. You can find us on all the socials, I think. I don't know. It's been so long since we've done this. Do we still have our socials?
Yeah, I think we do.
We're on Instagram and Facebook.
All right. Yep. And so on Ion Horror, or you can go to iHorror.com, which is the site we all call home. You can also hear me on the Cryptozoo every other week, and Jacob on the Hallow Rewind not every other week, but it's more regular. It's more regular than Ion Horror lately. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks or in a couple months again. I don't know, but we'll see you when we see you. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Correia.
Keep your eye on horror.